Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another reading vlog. Today we begin my Kindle Unlimited reads for the month, and in the month of March I have only been reading, not only, but I've been focusing on only reading books in series so that I can start getting through some of the series that I'm in the middle of. So these three are all in series I have already started. The first one we're going to start with is Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and that is the second book in the Addicted series. Calloway Sisters, that whole like universe thing. I read the first one probably almost a year ago now. I really apologize if like thunder or something happens during this because it has been storming for like the past hour and I've just been wanting to like get this intro filmed so that I can just start reading. But I read Addicted to You, I think it's the first one, like a year ago now almost, and it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't care too much for the two main characters, and I've just been putting it off, but it's all on Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't have to like purchase the books or anything. So I'm gonna give the second one a try and we'll see where we go from there. And it is very short, only like 200 and some pages long, I think. So the fact that I'm kind of on the fence, I'm happy that the second book is so short. Then I'm going to be reading Fated Throne, which is I think the 6th book in the Zodiac Academy. I've been reading one book in the Zodiac Academy a month for the past few months, and getting closer to the end, which is sad, but still excited because I am really enjoying the story and the heartbreak that it brings. So that'll be the second book I read. And then the third book I'm hoping is The Rivaled Crown by Holly Renee, which is the third book in the Veiled Kingdom series. That is supposed to come out on the 18th, which is Tuesday. So 2 days from now. This is a Sunday. And I'm really hoping that that sticks because I don't even think like it's offered in anything other than Kindle. Right now, if you go on like Amazon, I think it's like literally only available on a Kindle. So I'm hoping that that's not just gonna get like bumped at the last minute, but that is the plan for right now. If I have to make an adjustment, you're gonna find out when I do. But those are the 3 books I'm planning on reading this week on my Kindle. And yeah, I'm going to be starting with Ricochet, and we'll talk a little bit later once I've started that. Okay, so I'm like 40 some of the way percent through this. Not a very long book, 45% of the way through. The spice I think is what's getting to me, and it's not even like it's spicy, but like it's called, the whole series is Addicted, or at least this part of the series. And Lo is addicted to alcohol and Lily is addicted to sex. And right now we're really just focusing on Lily in this book and her coping. Like Lo isn't with her right now, like he isn't physically with her, and she's trying to like cope and not cheat on him essentially, but like all her thoughts are just revolving around sex and her restraint, and I am like terrified of what's gonna happen before they can be back together again. So we'll see. I think we're getting to the point where we're finally gonna get some of his point of view as well, so I'm excited for that because it's really just been like a little bit of flashbacks with him and also her just talking about him, so there hasn't really been too much of that. But I don't love Lily and Lo yet. I don't know that I won't eventually grow to like them as a couple. I don't dislike them, but I just think that the whole like addiction thing is just a lot for me to handle, on top of like learning all these characters and all the dynamics. And then like they're also very wealthy people, so there's like that thrown in as well, like the drama and everything with their families and all of that. So there's a lot going on. But Daisy and Reich, I know, become a couple at some point, I'm pretty sure, because like I've heard people talk about this series enough that like I always hear those two names together, and I always hear Rose and Connor, and we already have met them as a couple. But so I'm like interested to see how that's going to play out later in the series. But I think like Daisy and Reich are gonna be my favorite. Although, like, I don't know. I really like Reich, and I don't think I'm supposed to, because I think he's supposed to be, like, this douchebag asshole that we're not supposed to like at this point, but I kind of like him. So, I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I really don't care. And Daisy as well. But I also, like, love Rose, and I love Connor. So I'm hoping that, like, once I get through some of the, like, rougher books with Lily and Lo, that I will like the rest of the series, or, like, the second half of the series, the Calloway sister side of it. But I think there's 5 books that are literally just about Lily and Lo, so I have to get through those 5. I probably could skip them and just get over it, but I don't, because I don't want to miss what's going on with the other 2 sisters during that time frame. I don't know if it's going to cross times. I don't know. So I don't want to like not read them and then miss things. But at this point, like, I think I am going to continue reading this even after this book, just because I want to get to their stories. And that's what's driving me forward at this point. And that's really the reason I picked up Ricochet, was because we got a taste of Rose and Connor in the first book and I really liked them. And now we're getting a little bit of like Reich and Daisy and I'm liking that too. So I think that's what's really going to push me through this. But I could end up changing my mind about Lily and Lo. Never say never. But that's where we are right now. I'm hoping to just like sit down and finish this out in the next few hours. Because again, 200 and some page book, not very long. So I will touch base probably when I'm done. So I just finished Ricochet and I just want Reich and Daisy's books. And I'm just gonna continue to say that. I think I will like Rose and Connor's, and I'm hoping that like I'm starting to get a little bit different feelings about Lily and Lo now, and I'm hoping that switches more even in the next book. We'll see how that goes. But I am going to continue this, at least for now, because I really want to get to a book that's Reich and Daisy, and I think I have quite a few before that happens. So, going to continue to get through Lily and Lo's part. The nice thing about these is they're all in Kindle Unlimited, so I can like I'm going on vacation next month. Maybe I can read the next one then, because I think the next one's like considerably longer than this one. So, enjoyed it. Definitely convinced me to continue reading, but again, like I said, I think it's the secondary couples that are really convincing me to continue on for now. But I still have at least 3 more books left of Lily and Lo, so hopefully those continue to be at least somewhat enjoyable. I have read Dishonestly Yours, which is the first book in their Webs We Weave series, Krista and Becca Ritchie's Webs We Weave series, and the next one comes out at the end of next month, or the end of this month. I forget when it comes out, but it comes out very soon. And I am excited to continue reading that series as well. So that's why I wanted to give this one a try again, because I did like that first book. All of their books are like really messy relationships though, and probably not like the most, I don't know, healthy relationships. But I don't know, sometimes that's what I want. A lot of times you want like, I like different romances for different moods, I guess. And every once in a while you want a messy one. Every once in a while I just want one where they act like adults. And then on the opposite side of that, sometimes I want one that's like super messy and you're just questioning everything they're doing. So that's more along the lines of what these are for me. But anyway, enjoyed that one. Moving on now to Fated Throne, which is the 6th book in the Zodiac Academy, and I'm gonna try to read a bit tonight. It's still kind of early, but I don't want to get myself into a situation where I'm like upset going to bed, because I know the beginning of this book is going to be rough based on how the last book ended. And I don't know how much pain I'm going to have to endure in the first part of this book. It's going to be painful the whole time. I say this every time I read a Zodiac book. I know it's going to be painful. It's just how much pain am I going to have to go through? So gonna start that tonight, and then I probably won't update again until I get home from work tomorrow. And it is St. Patrick's Day, so it's a Monday. Someone asked me at work what I was doing for St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, sleeping. It's a Monday. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna eat, and I'm gonna go to bed. But I guess that doesn't bother some people to party on a Monday. I don't know. Me, I'm old. I don't do that. But I will update you guys tomorrow on Fated Throne once I'm home from work. Okay, so it is now Monday evening, and I've read about 150 pages today, which puts me, I think, around like 250-ish pages into Fated Throne. And I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. I love these characters. I love these books. They are so drama-filled and so like raunchy and absolutely insane. And every time I read one of these books, like I want to put my fist through a wall because they are just frustrating. But I know I'm frustrated because I care about these characters and I care about the story, and I'm addicted to that part of it. So I know that's a good thing, but it is infuriating at the same time. So this is a very difficult book to get through right now. I don't know that it's going to get better until the end. I'm hoping that I get a little bit of a reprieve. I think we're getting to a point where it could go one way or another based on what just happened in the chapter that I finished up at lunch, but it's rough. I'm enjoying it, but it's destroying me at the same time. So we'll see how the rest of the book goes, but that's where I am right now. Those are my feelings. I really can't talk about the plot because it's the 6th book, but that's just my thoughts and feelings about how the book is making me feel and kind of where I am with what's going on. So I know it's gonna get worse, but I'm hoping it starts to get better too. So we'll see. One thing that I wanted to happen already happened, so that's a good thing. But it is like heart-wrenching, but at the same time, like so good what is happening with it right now. So that's where I am. I know I pretty much just said the same thing, and I say the same thing about every Zodiac Academy book, but that's just how these books make me feel. Angry, but at the same time, like I just want to know what's gonna happen. And I get so lost in these stories when I read them. Like I don't even pay attention to the time. I never know how long how long it's been when I started reading. I just want to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading, and I love that about them. But I also think that's a great thing that I'm not reading these books back to back to back, because I think I would lose my grasp on reality so bad if I was just completely encompassed in these books for 10 books in a row without any breaks. So I do think I made a good decision to just read one a month, but we're getting towards the end, so things have to start happening, right? But I will talk to you guys tomorrow when I get home from work. It is now 2 days later because I ended up having to go to the hockey game in town yesterday after work unexpectedly, because we had an extra ticket for a work thing. But it was fun. I'm not complaining about that. I just didn't get a lot of reading done yesterday, and then I didn't get home till like almost midnight. So I got like 4 hours of sleep. I'm very tired. I've read about 115 pages today of Fated Throne, and I have about just under 200 pages left in the book, and I'm still really liking it. It has me like in a chokehold. I'm really just like thinking about it when I'm not reading it, so I was really bummed that I didn't get to read too much yesterday. And as much as I want it to be over, I at the same time, like, I know it's gonna, like, these books always seem to end on like a really bad moment or like a really shocking thing, and I don't know what that's gonna be in this book, and I'm scared. But I'm hoping that things are getting to the point where like the things that are making me angry are starting to kind of figure themselves out, but at the same time, I know enough spoilers about this series to know that it's gonna get worse again. So we'll see. But I freaking love Darius. He's an asshole and he's making me angry as much as I love him, but I do really like his character. I do wish we got a little bit more. I feel like this book is more focused on like him and focused on Xavier and focused on Tori, whereas like I feel like the last one was more like Darcy, Orion, maybe even like Max. I feel like the books like focus on different characters, and this one definitely doesn't feel like it's focusing as much on those ones, and that's a little sad, but it could change. I still have 200 pages left. I could get a little bit more of them, but enjoying the story. It is, as I've said before, as frustrating it is as frustrating as it is addictive, and I really care about these characters, which is why I feel this way. Going strong. This book is almost like 800 pages long, so it's taken me a while to get through. I would love to finish it tonight, but I do not see that happening. So I'm hoping to get very close to the end. At least another 100 pages or so read tonight, so that I can finish this up midday tomorrow and then start on the Rivaled Crown, which is the final book in this vlog, and that is the final book in the Veiled Kingdom series by Holly Renee. So excited to get to that. It did just come out, so it is a new release, and I want to read it before I see some other people finish up the trilogy and start talking about it so I can form my own opinion. That's where we are with this vlog. I will talk to you all tomorrow when I get home from work. Okay, so I finished Fated Throne this morning. It is Thursday now, and I think it's my favorite so far, and I believe it's because the plot is now like really plotting, and the fantasy aspect is tying more into the romantic aspect of it, which is, it's more of like an even match, I'd say, which I love the romantic aspect of these books, and that's even taking off more for like outside of our main characters. There's like other things that are more prominent now with some of the other characters, and the plot is just like popping off because it is getting like higher stakes, more is happening. The beginning I think was a little slow, but the ending, like the last 100 pages, yeah. And even the ending, like the ending was, I feel like every one of these books ends with something like extremely sad and extremely like big happening. And this one was definitely the biggest one. And I kind of knew it was coming because, again, like I said, I know enough spoilers about this series to kind of know the general trajectory of where everything's going, but I just don't know all the details. And yeah, I almost like sobbed my eyes out in my office this morning, so that was great. But anyway, finished that this morning. And then I started The Rivaled Crown, which is the third and I believe final book in the Veiled Kingdom series trilogy. I'm only like 70-ish pages in, I want to say, and it's kind of slow right now. Like not slow, but like nothing's happening that's not expected. There's a little bit of redundancy, I think, at the beginning here, and a little filler, it seems like, which doesn't make me happy because I feel like the second book in general was just a lot of filler, but so far, nothing really shocking has happened based on how the last book ended. And I think part of me is like, this is, so far it feels like it's going to, the big issue that happened at the end of the last book is going to be semi-resolved relatively quickly into this book, for it being like a 400-page book. We're only 70 pages in, and I think the biggest thing maybe changed soon. I don't know. It just feels like that because that's how it feels like the book is moving, which, if that's the case, the second book was completely unnecessary. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. I will update tomorrow. I don't know how much I'm going to read tonight because I'm still catching up on sleep from 2 nights ago and I only got like 4 hours of sleep. So I am a bit tired, but so far, pretty good reading day. And I'm going to see how far I can get through The Rivaled Crown, and I will touch base with you all tomorrow. Hey everyone, it is Friday night. I wasn't going to update tonight just because I only have, I think, about 100 pages, less than 100 pages left of The Rivaled Crown, and I don't actually know how many pages are in it because the Kindle book is not, there's no page numbers on them yet, so it's just like locations, so I only have an idea of how many pages it is, and I think I'm very close to the end. I'm on like 90% of the way through the book, so I'm pretty sure I have like maybe 50 pages left, probably way less than 100, but anyway, I don't know how I feel about this book, and that is why I'm updating right now, because I think I'm gonna like finish it tonight and then sit on it for a little bit, and then at some point tomorrow I will film the wrap up because I don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it, for sure. It's at least gonna be like 3.5 stars, but considering how highly I rated the first one and then how much I didn't like the second one, I'm just not sure if I like the pacing and like what happened in this book. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, but I'm almost done. So I'm gonna finish this up tonight and then I will wrap this up tomorrow once I've like got my thoughts together on my final feelings on this book. Okay, so time to wrap up my Kindle reads for the month, which were continuations of series that I was already in the middle of. The first one was an attempt at seeing if I wanted to continue the Addicted series by Chris and Becca Ritchie. So I read Ricochet, which is the second book in the like original part of the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, and it follows Lily and Lo. Their love story was the one I wasn't really sure I wanted to continue just because of the content and the fact that they're both very much so dealing with addiction in ways that are uncomfortable to read about. So Lo has a alcohol addiction and Lily is addicted to sex. So you follow them in the first book and you're really just kind of learning about them and their relationship and how they know each other and like where they are at that point together. The second book dove a little bit more deeper into that, I'd say. So you're learning more about their real feelings for each other and understanding how toxic their relationship really was and that they were enabling each other. And I think the fact that it was actually acknowledged in the second book was why I enjoyed it more, because that was one of my biggest issues with the first book, is that it was just them enabling each other and allowing this stuff to continue, and I didn't like that. But I think this one was deeper. It definitely delved into more of like coping mechanisms, what they can do to help each other, and they're dealing more and more with their issues. So I liked that. I also loved that we got more of Rose and Connor in this book, as well as Daisy and Reich. And I think that Daisy and Reich will eventually be my favorite couple. I don't think anything really happens with them until the Calloway Sisters part of the series, but I love Reich. I don't think you're really supposed to. I think you're supposed to really think he's a jerk, or like maybe you're supposed to like him or think he's a jerk. I don't know, but I really like him, and I think I'm going to continue to really like him, and especially Daisy. I really like Daisy as well, so I think the fact that I like the characters separate makes me eventually think I'm going to like them together when that happens, whenever that happens. I don't know much about their relationship. I just know that they, I think, eventually become a couple, just because I've heard people talk about them as a unit multiple times on like book channels and stuff like that. So it's also kind of obvious, I think, that that's building up to that in the way that the book is written. But anyway, really enjoyed this one. It has convinced me to want to continue on with the series. I wasn't sure I wanted to. I thought maybe I would just skip the Lillian Lowe books and move straight into the Calloway sisters part of the series, but I do want to see, at this point at least, where Lily and Lo go from now. So this book did endear me to them a little bit more. I'm still not like, they're not gonna be my favorite couple in this. I can pretty much just tell that. But I think the way they were portrayed in this book has definitely made me want to continue their story. So that was a win. It's a series I'm gonna probably try to continue reading one book a month for the next few months, just to make sure that I really do want to continue it. It is a very long series. I think there's like 10 books total, so it would be towards the end of the year before I even finished the series anyway, if I read one book a month. So we'll see. I'm not forcing myself to read them. It was almost a year from the time I read Addicted to You. Is that what the first one's called? I can't remember. To Ricochet. So, and I remembered enough of what happened in the first one that the gap wasn't that terrible. I ended up giving this book a 3.75, and like I said, it was a higher rated book just because I think it started to deal with the issues I had with the first one, so I appreciated that. The second book I read was another author duo, also sisters, Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti's Fated Throne, which is the 6th book in the Zodiac Academy series. And this so far was my favorite one in the series yet. There was a lot of pain in this one, but it dealt with a lot of the pain that we've been seeing in the other books as well. But I think the character development and the like relationship development, like all types of relationship development, was strong in this one, and the like plot felt like it actually was moving forward in this one, I think, too. You're getting more and more of what we know is the issue in Celeria, and it feels like they're starting to actually deal with the problems rather than just talking about them, and I think that's what made the plot way more interesting in this one than it has been in the other ones. Obviously, I've enjoyed the series enough to be on book 6, finished book 6. There's 4 more left, I think 7, 8, 8.5, and 9 I have to read. I'm not really reading the other novellas because from what I've heard, they're not really necessary, and there's just so many other books involved in this that I'm just gonna, for now, not bother reading them. But I don't know. There was something about this book that finally made me give it a 5-star. This is the first 5-star in the series for me, and I think it was just because the trajectory of the plot was just so much better, and there was just so much more depth, I think, in this one than there has been. It wasn't as, like, I don't want to say fluffy because they're not really fluffy books, but there was actually more meat to this one, I think, than the rest of them have had. So I really liked this one. It was a 5-star read. I'm definitely interested to see where these last 4 books go. I know it's going to be a painful journey, but I have hope that the ending will be worth it. So going to continue with that. Again, another 5-star read for me for this year. I knew eventually there was a good chance that one of these books would be that. I don't know that the rest of them will be, because it took me a while to give that full 5-star to a book in this series anyway, and this one just felt like the right one for that, because I have not stopped thinking about it since I finished it, which says something. I think about these characters a lot, but like the actual plot and what happened in this book, I've been thinking about a lot. So that's what makes me feel like it actually gave me the 5-star feeling. And then the final book we read is The Rivaled Crown, which actually finished a series for me. That is the 3rd and final book in the Veiled Kingdom trilogy by Holly Renee. I want to say book 1, The Veiled Kingdom, was a 5-star, 4.5 or 5-star read for me. I read that last year when it came out, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very fun fantasy beginning, and while yes, it's a rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers romance, it still felt like its own story. It didn't feel like super repetitive, and it was like interesting, and I didn't really see the end coming, and I didn't really know what to expect in the future books, so it was very interesting to me, and I did enjoy it. But then the second book was a little disappointing. I've said it in I think I did that one in a vlog too. It felt like it could have been a novella. I read that at the end of last year, I think December. It was very short, and it was necessary to get the story to where it needed to be to start book 3. Did it need to be its own book? I don't think so. I think it probably could have been incorporated into 1 and 2, and I said before that I thought it might have been able to be, and now after reading book 3, I definitely think this could have been like a very strong duology rather than a semi-weak trilogy, if that makes sense. So this one started off, again, second book was The Hunted Heir. This is The Rivaled Crown. Starts off at the end of what happened at the end of book 2. And I think that it was resolved. What happened at the end of book 2 was resolved a little quickly for me, which is why I think the second book could have been incorporated into the third book, and part of the beginning of the second book could have been the end of book 1. But there was a lot of, I don't know, I felt like it read too, and I've said this about other books before, fan fiction-y, where like things just happen to work out perfectly. And yes, I want happy endings, but I also want a little bit of pain in my fantasy books, and I didn't feel enough pain in this one. There were things that I think were obvious that were supposed to be like earth-shattering moments, and I think that the relationship between Verena and Dacre, I don't know how you say his name. I think that the relationship between them was overly sexualized, and I didn't like that. I'm not someone that shies away from spice, but their relationship to me has always felt more physical, and there was overuse of the word mate. I really didn't like how much that word was being used and thrown around, especially since in other books where I've heard that word used, I felt that relationship stronger, so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way as well. But overall, like, it wasn't a terrible finale to the trilogy. I think it closed up a lot of open-ended parts of the story. I think there was still maybe a few plot holes that I would have liked cleared up, but we did get a little bit more of understanding about how they got to where they are with where magic is and where the state of the kingdom is and the king and all of that. I think that a lot of those answers were given, but I really did not like the epilogue. So I said in my last update on this that it was going to be at least a 3.5, and it would probably depend on how the book ended, whether or not it went up at all. It's not. It's going to be a 3.5 star read. I think I gave the second one 3 stars because I didn't hate it, and I felt it was necessary to get the story to where it was, but it was an unnecessary separate book, and I'm going to stand by that. And this one, I just felt like it could have ended stronger. I felt like there were parts of the book that were drawn out, and then other parts of the book where the action took place was a little confusing because I think so much was trying to be put into just those scenes rather than taking the time and maybe cutting out some other stuff and putting more explanation into those scenes. It wasn't the plot that got me. It was the unnecessary sexualization of their relationship and just the way it flowed. The pacing of it, and like certain scenes that I felt were rushed versus others. And yeah, that's what I think is the most disappointing about it. But it ended in the way that we would want a fantasy romance to end, obviously, but again, I had some qualms about that as well. So 3.5 star read. I would recommend the trilogy. It's sad that the first book is such a strong book in my opinion, and then it kind of goes downhill from there, but it was still an enjoyable series. It's only 3 books. They were very quick reads, all on Kindle Unlimited, which is also very nice, but there were some callbacks to book 1 too, which is also what kind of, I think, kept me going through this one. And again, her writing is very easily digestible, I think. I can fly through her writing. Sometimes I read fantasy romances and I have to slow down because it's either too complex or just the way it's written, I have to really pay attention. And not in a bad way, just I have to pay attention. But that, and I feel like even Zodiac Academy, very easily digestible books, as long as the Zodiac Academy books are, I can get through them relatively quickly. So that's a plus for those. So a relatively good reading vlog. I finished a series, continued one of what's probably going to be one of my favorite series of all time, and decided to continue another series that I was on the fence about. So while I'm sad that I can't like just say that I'm not going to read a series and knock that one off my list, I am excited to see where that one goes. So successful reading vlog, I think. It took me a little bit longer this week to read than I usually do. I didn't get through as many books as I usually do, but I had a very fun, very social week, so that's why this weekend I'm just kind of like, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to do anything, so I'll be reading a little bit more this weekend. But yeah, I think I enjoyed this vlog and what I read and how the week played out. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, let me know if you've read any of these books, let me know if you're reading any of these series, if you like these continuation vlogs, if you want to see me still kind of keep the Kindle Unlimited books by themselves. I try to read those in one vlog just so that it's like very clear that those are Kindle Unlimited books, but I can mix them in if that's more preferable. I think I'm going to restructure how I do my wrap-ups and everything, so there may be more to come in my beginning next month vlog where I kind of do my reset. I may talk about it more there. So until then, thank you so much again for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.